Wilhelt the Rotcleaver for $100? Sign me up. Wilhelt the Rotcleaver's abilities make for a very strong zombie-centric game plan, and that's exactly what we've done here in this deck. And before we continue with this deck tech, I do want to give a huge shout out to Fernando Sabalas. They recommended Wilhelt be brewed across the power level spectrum. For the first version, we're going to cap ourselves at $100. When I was brewing this deck, I realized that there are a ton of creatures that buff zombies. So that's basically what we're doing. We're playing zombies, but we've got a huge theme on lords. And there are a whopping 10 lord effects in this deck, and that means we're going to be able to go into the red zone really easily. Liliana Death's Majesty is going to be super sweet for our deck, since that -7 destroys all non-zombie creatures. While Wilhelt provides a sacrifice outlet on his own, we do want a few extra ways in the deck that we can sacrifice our other zombies. This is going to help us dodge exile type effects and allow us to get rid of our zombies when we want to. A few of the main ones I want to point out are the Carrion Feeder, which is just a repeatable sack outlet for free. The Cleaver Scab is going to be super sweet for making copies of our other lords, so our team gets absolutely massive. And Gerolf Visionary Stitcher, in addition to it being a sack outlet, it's also going to give all of our zombies flying. We have a few ways to recur some of our zombies. Grave Spawn Sovereign allows us to tap our zombies so we can recur any creature from any graveyard. Gravedigger is a zombie that on ETB allows us to get other zombies from our graveyard. And then Eternal Taskmaster is a super sweet one that I like. It's got some fun synergy with cards like Gem Palm Polluter, since we can cycle it, make a player lose a bunch of life, and then use our Eternal Taskmaster to return it back to our hand. We've got a few other ways to get some card advantage with stuff like Midnight Reaper, Undead Augur, and Razorlash Transmorgant is a really sweet card from Brothers War that allows us to repeatedly bring back a zombie from our graveyard to the battlefield for extra sacrifice effects. In addition to this being a budget deck, we also want to keep the power level of this version low since we're exploring the power level spectrum, and in order to do so, we are not going to include that Gravecrawler. Unfortunately, it does create an infinite combo with one of the other cards that we'll go over later in the deck. In the sorceries, we've got a few classics like Army of the Damned to make a bunch of dudes. Dark Salvation can give us extra zombie tokens in addition to being removal, and Empty the Laboratory is a super crazy card, getting to sacrifice those zombies, and then you just revealed until you revealed that many zombie creatures, and then you can put those zombie creatures in the battlefield. Our instant package is super straightforward since we're on that lower end of the power level spectrum. A few counter spells. Deadly Plot's got some nice flexibility, being able to destroy something that our opponent controls or being able to get back a zombie from our graveyard. And Tragic Slip is going to be super sweet since we have a good bit of ways to get deaths to happen anyway. Gets rid of a ton of pesky creatures. Artifacts, we got just a lot of very straightforward ramps, some 2-drops, some 3-drops. Crowded Crypt is a notable include. It is a mana rock in addition to being able to store up a bunch of those counters, and then you can make a bunch of dudes. Con of Ancestry is our 11th lord effect that I completely forgot about when I was counting the number of lords in the deck. And Wand of Orcus, giving our zombies Death Touch, is going to be massive for when we're trying to get into the red zone. We've got some super sweet enchantments going on. Graph Harvest is going to give our zombies Menace, in addition to being able to create extra tokens if we are in a pinch. Open the Graves and Reflections of Lichar are going to give us some extra token support. We've got the classic Rooftop Storm. This is going to be the reason why we are not running Gravecrawler, because if we have this card out and a sacrifice outlet, we're just going to be able to sacrifice Gravecrawler an infinite amount of times, and we try to avoid combos in this lower part of the power level spectrum. Moving on to our lands, we've got a lot of basics, a lot of lands that actually get creatures back from our graveyard to either the battlefield or the top of our library, so it's actually some pretty good utility. Thanks for checking out this episode. If you want to be notified for when the next 2 versions of Wilhelt are brewed across the power level spectrum, be sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a ton. It lets me know that people like what I'm doing, and until next time.